Come on in, welcome to Idle Down, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the funniest food-related faux pas in Survivor history. Food drama is probably my favorite drama on Survivor, simply due to how petty it is. In real life, someone eating more than their fair share or getting up to get a banana and not offering to grab you one is a minor irritation at best. But in Survivor, bad manners and social ignorance are valid reasons to vote someone out. The reason food drama is so fun on Survivor is because it's always incredibly trivial. From Jerry bickering with a chef over how to properly cook rice, to JT and Michaela arguing over how many scoops of sugar go in coffee, food drama has a long and dramatic history in this game. But it's the food faux pas that are most fun for me, when people aren't immediately aware that they're even being rude or obnoxious. And would you believe that's happened a lot in this game? All that said, let's dig into 5 of Survivor's most hilarious food faux pas. At number 5 is the event that inspired this list: Ricard eating a sliver of papaya after returning from a reward in Survivor 41. The biggest food reward of the season thus far occurred in episode 8, a team-based challenge where the players were divided into teams for some grilled cheese sandwiches and potato chips. An extremely unlucky random team draw put basically the same players on opposing teams for the second challenge in a row. And wouldn't you believe it, the same people who won the merge feast also win this reward. A bit of a haves versus have-not dynamic begins to develop amongst the cast, and the two-time losers are understandably starting to feel resentful. While Tiffany, Liana, and Xander are all pretty frustrated, it's Shan, the losingest player of the season thus far by challenge wins, who's hit the hardest by this loss. And she's probably starting to wonder if she'll ever eat again. Enter camp provider, challenge god, and all-around wholesome king, Nasir. In a very Nasir move, he just goes off into the jungle and returns with several papaya to share between the challenge losers, momentarily lifting Shan's spirits. That is until the reward winners stroll back into camp, full of grilled cheese. And Ricard, who was part of the winning team, grabs himself the tiniest sliver of papaya and has a nibble.
Ricard, come on, you tried grilled cheese. I want to try the papaya. Oh my God. Really? Really, son? You just ate. Nobody's smiling at you right now.
Wow, this is the messiest duo on Survivor since spaghetti and tablecloths. This is such a huge mistake in Survivor. It's essentially an unspoken rule that if you go on a good reward, you don't eat later. Logically, Ricard's teeny tiny bite didn't take anything away from anyone else. But Survivor's not always a logical game. Ricard gets a little redemption later in the episode, opting to sit out of the challenge so the tribe can have rice, and then offers some very helpful advice to Xander at Tribal Council. So perhaps Papaya-gate is forgiven. I hope so for his sake. Do you really want a hangry Shan against you? At number 4 is John Fincher eating apple pie at the auction in Survivor Samoa. During the Samoa auction, Fincher is given a classic Survivor dilemma. He just dropped $300 on a slice of apple pie, and then Jeff gives him the opportunity to either be selfish and eat his single slice of pie, or give up his piece and let 4 people share an entire pie. With 9 people left in the game, this would be a good opportunity to shore up your relationships with 4 other people for a majority of 5. But who am I to backseat drive for a rocket scientist? So, conventional wisdom says there are 2 moves here. 1, you say, sorry, I paid $300 for this piece of pie, I'm just gonna eat it. Or 2, you bite the bullet and try and buy some goodwill with your tribe and give up your piece of pie in the interest of politicking. Both are acceptable choices, and what you do kind of depends both on your position in the tribe and how much you like apple pie. But John Fincher somehow pulls a third option out of thin air, the absolute worst of both worlds and the worst possible thing you could do in this situation. He turns around and asks everyone if they'd like any pie, a question which I don't think has ever been answered with a no in all of human history. Then Fincher just completely ignores them, turns back around, and decides to eat the pie for himself, arguing that no one's going to take him eating his pie personally.
And I'm confident that no one's going to vote me off because they didn't get a piece of apple pie.
The next day.
10th person voted out, the 4th member of our jury.
Other factors, obviously, went into the decision to vote John out, mostly his personality and essence. But the hemming and hawing over whether to eat the pie, to tempt everyone with the potential for pie, then to just yank the pie right out from under them and eat it himself, certainly did not win him any friends in the game. Something he very clearly needs. This isn't something you'll hear me say an awful lot, but I think Russell had it right when he said that in this situation, you really should just suck it up and give up your reward. That piece of pie isn't worth $1 million. Not that John had a chance of winning against any of these people anyway. Well, maybe Mick. At number 3 is Cole and basically everything he ever did in Survivor Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. Cole's honestly one of my favorite golden boys in years. A charming, kind, good-looking young guy who just turned into pure lizard brain from lack of nourishment. As the biggest dude on the season, Cole was a large part of why the Healers tribe was so successful, and why post-swap Yawa was so successful. 100% of pre-merge tribes containing Cole did not attend tribal council, but that didn't stop the members of post-swap Yawa, particularly Ben and Lauren, from being irritated by Cole and his lack of manners and tact when it comes to food. Ben and Lauren are initially annoyed by Cole eating, quote, more than his fair share, as he's constantly taking larger portions of food than everyone else. To Cole, however, this is completely logical. Not only does he have the biggest body and negative body fat, but he's also carrying in the challenges. So why shouldn't he get a few extra scoops of rice here and there? Eating more might be one thing, but it's also the way he eats that doesn't go down well with Ben and Lauren.
Cole's eating habits are really bad. He's very inconsiderate. He's like a pig.
Pigs tend to chew. I'd say he eats more like a duck. To remedy everyone's frustrations, Cole starts procuring his own food supply, catching fish and eating it himself. Right in front of everyone else. Cole's brain truly does work in mysterious ways. Probably the lack of food. Cole's body actually literally starts shutting down in episode 6, getting him some form of vindication, I guess. That's a legit faceplant. Getting the best of me, it ain't. What I love about the Cole drama is that everyone's right to a degree. Cole's body objectively needs more calories to function, but being the most starving in a group of starving people isn't an excuse in a social game to eat more than everyone else, and he's completely oblivious to the fact that his tactless and selfish behavior comes off as tactless and selfish. Crazy to think that he didn't think this was upsetting to anyone. I don't think you need to go to charm school to know that you shouldn't stick your hands in everyone else's food after sucking on your fingers. At number 2 is Nalia offering the merged tribe a half-chewed mint from her mouth in Survivor Marquesas. At the final 8 of Survivor Marquesas, Pascal wins a fancy dinner and overnight stay on a cruise ship as a reward, and takes along Nalia as his +1 because Pascal and Nalia are an incredibly tight pair. The reward is pretty sweet. Steak dinner, hot shower, change of clothes, after dinner mints, pretty much everything the survivors have been dreaming of for the past 30 days. Now, socially savvy reward winners do 2 things. 1, and this was more common in the early days of Survivor, but if you can, you smuggle some food back to camp for the other players. 2, you don't gloat about your reward. The other players are starving, they don't need to hear about how delicious the steak you just ate was. And if you must open your mouth, tell them it was served well done and with ketchup or something. Oh, and 3, I guess, I can't believe this actually needs saying, you don't offer chewed food in your mouth to the other players, like you're some sort of mama bird feeding her chicks. And yet Nalia broke all 3 of these rules in one of the biggest failures to read a room this side of Dan Foley. Wait, sorry, that was actually just a failure to read. Upon returning from what is easily one of the best rewards of the season, Nalia first fails to bring back any food for the rest of the tribe. Okay, understandable. Then goes into excruciating detail about how amazing her dinner was and how clean she is, even stopping mid-sentence to smell her hair. Somewhere along the way, she realizes that the other players aren't as happy for her as she was expecting. They're actually stewing with anger at her over-the-top descriptions of her great reward. So she pivots. Most people would just pivot to shutting up, but Nalia pivots to offering the 6 other players a nearly dissolved mint right out of her mouth. This moment lives rent-free in my head. An adult woman thought that 6 starving individuals would actually accept her offer to eat a partially chewed mint and find it gracious. They did not.
Keep your mint candy, man. You know, that's like saying, anybody wanted this piece of doodoo?
Hold up, Sean. Actually, I know one guy who kind of wouldn't mind that.
Did you actually eat dog to get on here?
I did.
The most hilarious and iconic food faux pas in Survivor history is James's lack of banana etiquette in Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. By episode 6 of Heroes vs. Villains, the heroes are on the downward trend. Rupert's toe is broken, James's leg is injured, Colby's failing at every turn, they voted out the only 2 people on this tribe with any strategic sense, and Candace is here for some reason. Things aren't going great for this tribe. To add to their troubles, in episode 6, both tribes are going to tribal council. After losing the individual immunity challenge, Colby just throws in the towel. He knows it's him, he isn't having any fun, and he's ready to go. But the brain trust of JT, Amanda, Rupert, and Candace are debating keeping Colby over James, who simply cannot compete in the challenges due to his recent leg injury. During this meeting of the minds, JT also brings up another reason why they might just keep Colby instead of James. James likes to eat. A lot. James eats a lot of bananas. He eats so many bananas there's hardly any bananas for everyone else, and when he goes to get a banana, he doesn't offer to get anyone else bananas. The banana subplot is honestly set up beautifully, with shots of James grabbing extra bananas sprinkled throughout the episode like delicious banana-flavored sprinkles. Amanda, James's closest ally, tries her best to save him, telling him that he needs to work on his banana etiquette if he wants to stay in the game. And James cannot believe what he's hearing. Manners? In this game?
Next time y'all lose a challenge, a little less cursing off your tribe might help.
Keep your mouth shut.
James telling Jeff how banana etiquette works at Tribal Council is one of the funniest Survivor moments ever to me, both for James's delivery and the silliness of him not understanding having manners.
Told me today that there's such a thing as a banana etiquette.
Banana etiquette.
If you go get a banana, you have to ask every person who's in your vicinity if they would like a banana.
Banana etiquette is not a new concept in this game. All the way back in Survivor Thailand, Rob was eating his tribe's bananas and getting in trouble for the exact same reasons. I mean, it's even the same fruit. The banana battle continues even into the merge, as Rupert becomes frustrated that some members of the villains tribe also do not follow his increasingly arbitrary banana etiquette rules, frustrated this time because the villains are eating the bananas before they ripen. It's amazing that at the final 10 tribal council, where a high-stakes idol showdown between JT, Amanda, Parvati, and Russell is actively going down, Rupert is just shouting into the void about bananas. Rupert, quick, I've got some new banana etiquette to save your tribe. You can't play an idol if you've eaten an underripe banana. Got him. Got nothing else for ya. If you want to have good YouTube etiquette, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.